Silence is not weakness, it is strength wrapped in dignity. In a quiet village, nestled between green hills and winding rivers, lived an elderly woman named Shanta Devi. To the world, she seemed dignified and well respected, but those who knew her closely feared her sharp tongue and bitter heart. Her words carried more venom than any snake, and her habit of humiliating others gave her a cruel sort of pleasure. Shanta Devi had one son, Raghav, a kind and hard-working man, who had recently married a gentle, graceful woman named Meera. Meera came from a humble family, raised with values of patience, respect, and wisdom. She entered her husband's home with a heart full of hope, ready to honor her new family and spread peace within the household. But Meera's simplicity annoyed Shanta Devi, and from the very first day, she decided to make her daughter-in-law's life miserable. Every morning, as soon as Meera stepped into the kitchen, Shanta Devi would start her taunts. "Look at the way you cut vegetables. Even the cow in the neighbor's field is more skilled. Why is the tea so tasteless? Did your mother never teach you how to cook? You dress so plainly. No wonder you brought no fortune with you." Her words were harsh, often cruel, and designed to pierce Meera's heart. At first, Raghav tried to defend his wife, but Shanta Devi would lash out at him too. "Have you become blind with love for her? Can't you see how useless she is?" Meera, however, never raised her voice. She would listen quietly, bow her head, and continue her work. Sometimes her eyes filled with tears, but she never let them fall in front of her mother-in-law. Instead, she turned to silence as her shield, refusing to argue, refusing to feed the fire. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Shanta Devi kept on with her harshness, but Meera's silence began to have an unusual effect. When Shanta Devi accused her of laziness, Meera silently completed every chore before anyone could notice. When she mocked her simplicity, Meera quietly dressed in clean, modest clothes that reflected her inner dignity. When she ridiculed her cooking, Meera continued to serve meals with warmth and care, ensuring the whole family was fed. The villagers soon noticed the contrast. At gatherings, people praised Meera's gentleness, her ability to maintain harmony, and her tireless devotion. Slowly, the whispers began. "Raghav is blessed to have such a wise wife. Shanta Devi is bitter, but Meera is the true jewel of the family." These words reached Shanta Devi's ears, and her jealousy grew. She tried harder to provoke Meera, shouting louder, insulting harsher, but every outburst was met with silence. One evening, a village feast was held at the temple. Families gathered, bringing food, music, and laughter. Shanta Devi, eager to flaunt her authority, made a public scene. Pointing at Meera, she sneered, "Look at this daughter-in-law of mine. She's as quiet as a stone, as dull as a shadow. I regret the day she stepped into my house." The crowd fell silent, expecting Meera to finally defend herself. But Meera only bowed her head, her calm face glowing under the temple lamps. She said nothing, not a word. An old village elder, wise and respected, stepped forward and addressed Shanta Devi. "Shanta Devi, you call your daughter-in-law a stone, but remember, precious gems too are silent. It is only empty vessels that make noise. The whole village has seen Meera's patience and goodness. You may hurl your words, but her silence speaks louder than your insults." The crowd nodded in agreement. Shame flushed across Shanta Devi's face. For the first time, she realized that her cruelty had not broken Meera, it had only highlighted her own wickedness. That night, Shanta Devi could not sleep. Meera's silence haunted her more than any argument could have. She thought of how tirelessly Meera had worked, how she had never spoken back, never humiliated her in return. Slowly, the walls of bitterness began to crack. The next morning, when Meera brought her tea, Shanta Devi's voice trembled. "Forgive me, child, I was blind with pride and anger. You have taught me a lesson I will never forget." Meera, with her gentle smile, touched her mother-in-law's feet and said softly, "A flame dies when it has no air to burn. Your words could not harm me because I chose not to give them life." From that day forward, the house changed. Shanta Devi softened, her tongue less sharp, her heart lighter. The bond between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law grew stronger, and the family thrived in peace. Don't be foolish to indulge in the nonsense of wicked people. Answer them with your silence. Moral: do not waste your energy fighting the wickedness of others. Their words are like sparks. If you feed them with anger, they grow into fire. But if you answer with silence, the sparks die out. Wisdom is not always in speaking. Often, it lies in knowing when not to respond. If you like my story, please like, comment and subscribe.